Welcome to the panel. I'm Michael Fletcher. To my left is Sean Heeger, and to my right is Jordan Edmonds.
Today we're talking All-Star games and whether or not they're relevant to major sports.
We all know that All-Star games feature the best athletes on a stage where they get to shine in front of millions of fans. But is it worth it for those athletes? That's what we're here to talk about today.
So I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy the All-Star game, and any sport, actually. It's mainly for the fans, as I'm sure you guys understand. These athletes, they make millions and millions of dollars per season. They get the best treatment of any athletes in the world, whether it's NFL, NHL, soccer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's their duty, it's their job to be at these events, I think.
I know it's their job to perform for the fans, and obviously a lot of the money goes towards charity and there's a lot of good things done, but at the same time, I mean, these athletes, their job is to perform and to perform for their teams. So I think the All-Star weekend instead maybe could be used as like a break period where some of the players have like niggling injuries and just need a rest from their heavy schedules.
Mike, I half agree with you. It is for the fans, but at the same time, the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, they're making millions off of this. The jerseys, just having the players go out there and sign a couple autographs. People are lining up and paying big money for this. And it is for them, but I don't think the NFL, the NHL should be benefiting this big.
The NBA will generate a lot of revenue, but it's not really a game if there's no defense. If a player's playing at half speed, there's no physicality in the game. I mean, it's good for the fans, but like to an extent it's not, because they're not seeing these players perform at the highest level possible.
Okay, but in the same breath, if say it's not an all-star year
Yeah.
for these players, like in the NHL, for example, like they have their Olympic breaks, is that any different, really? Like, they're still mid-season, they're still putting the same amount of stress on their bodies, it's just not in a more relaxed environment. So
Yeah.
could you sort of see that two different ways then?
So with the Olympics, I think there is like a lot of incentive, because obviously you're representing your country, you want to win medals, you're on like a really big stage. All-Star games, like you're representing yourself more. Like you obviously have your division and teams, but it's more for yourself. And if there's not a lot of personal benefit, the athletes don't perform to like their highest levels. I mean, I think MLB have it right in where the winning team gets home field advantage, and that's like a big incentive for teams, because they want to do for players, because they want to do that for their team, and it will help them in the long run.
Right.
I think the NHL has gotten it sort of right this year. They gave the winning team for the 3-on-3 $1 million, and sure, that's great, but at the same time, do the players really need $1 million? I mean, in this day and age in the NHL, a third liner is getting $5 million when he doesn't deserve it at all. So do they really need an incentive to be playing when they're playing for their fans? And all the time they go on and on about how great their fans are. Well, this is their chance to prove how much they care about them.
Well, but I think that's why they do it as well, because they put it, like this year the NHL All-Star Game was in Nashville. Southern states, they don't really have a market for hockey. That's just how it is. Like you see that in Dallas. We saw it when the Atlanta Thrashers were around. I mean, that's why they're in Winnipeg. And the turnout in Nashville was incredible. And even on TV, it was a 33% increase from 2009. It's just every year the viewership is increasing and increasing.
Yeah. And John Scott, I mean, for a player like that, I mean, the All-Star game for him personally was huge. And
Yeah.
I mean, he only gets paid around $500,000, so I mean that $90,000, that's kind of a big deal for him.
Yeah, and the NHL, in terms of the money that they made after the game, I think they were really pushing for these players to donate that money to charity.
Yeah.
I think the NHL made a big mistake with the fan voting, though, like with John Scott, and then you demote him and trade him to a completely different division.
Yeah.
And it's just, what's the point of the fan voting if you're going to do that to a player like that? And it was great for them to make him MVP, but at the same time, you see the flaws.
Oh, for sure. So going back to your point, Jordan, about players dealing with nagging injuries and so on, the NFL Pro Bowl
Yeah.
is it's a popular game for the fans because they get to see their favorite players.
Yeah.
Settings in Honolulu and Hawaii. but still, there's players that don't show up because football's a physical
Yeah.
contact sport. It's a lot of players dealing with a lot of injuries all the time sometimes. So, I mean, that game doesn't really seem like it's worth anything. Do you think they could change the way they produce it, like make it worth something for the players?
I would probably see more like, instead of a game, more like skills game based. Maybe like quarterbacks throwing to targets, something like that. You know, you see the commercials and have quarterbacks doing different things like that, or running backs doing certain things. I think that would be more interesting for fans, because obviously the Pro Bowl doesn't work. And in a sport like NFL, they need that lengthy break because it's a very contact-heavy sport. So, yes, something along the skill game space would be much better.
So, do you think it's more of a cash grab from the fans than anything for the NFL? Because they are one of the highest grossing professional sports.
Not just cash grab from the fans, because the fans are paying for the tickets, but this is a vacation for the players who do show up. I mean, it's in Hawaii. A plane ticket to Hawaii is not included in your Pro Bowl ticket, so you're paying $2,000 to fly Air Hawaii, $2,000 a night for your hotel, and then imagine how much more your ticket is. So it's an economic move from the NFL. They're trying to line their pockets. They're lining the pockets of everybody in Hawaii. It's the richest state in America, so I mean, at this point, it's just ridiculous. You gotta move it into a better place on the mainland, or you just cut it out altogether.
So Fletcher, what sports do you think do it right with their All-Star games?
First off, I'd say the MLB. They have something to play for at their All-Star game. They play for home field advantage in the World Series.
Sure.
Not only is it good for the players, like you can watch the home run derby and everything and see that the players are clearly enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
But it's also, they include the fans quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's they make a point of including the fans in pretty much everything they do. And then second from that, I'd say it's the NHL
I'd agree with
that
you.
does the best.
The NHL still has a lot to work on, but the MLB, that home run derby every single year, you can't miss that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So there's no doubt, really, I think you guys would agree that the All-Star games are very exciting
Yeah.
to the fans and the general population. They need to clear up some areas in certain sports, especially the NHL and the NFL. They don't make any incentive really for these players to attend these games. The players are completely willing to eat whatever fine or suspension that might follow from not attending these games. But I think it's a great way to keep the fans involved and keep the players involved. You get to see the real personalities of the games. And these players really, they're there to shine for these fans. Okay, thanks for tuning into the panel. I'm Michael Fletcher.
I'm Sean Heeger.
And I'm Jordan Edmonds.